Hi everybody, it's Miss Austin. I'm going to be doing the lesson 17 practice problems. We are going to skip a few. If you have some tracing paper, it would be handy. Number 1, quadrilateral ABCD is congruent to quadrilateral A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Describe a sequence of rigid motions that takes A to A prime, B to B prime, C to C prime, and D to D prime. My tracing paper. If you've been in class, you might have picked up on one of the easiest ways to figure out how to get one shape onto another is to first line up a point, any point of your choosing. So I'm going to do B to B prime because they're so close. So my first thought is I'm going to translate B to B prime. You could also say translate along segment B, B prime, translate along directed line segment B, B prime. So I would go like this. Now B is on top of B prime. And now it looks like I can rotate it. When you give a rotation, you have to give direction, center, and how much. Now, since this isn't on grid paper, another way is you can just tell them when to stop rotating by using the points. So I'm going to rotate clockwise around B until C coincides with C prime. I think it's pretty obvious it's 90 degrees as well because we're turning the paper 1/4 of a turn or one turn, right? And it's a square paper, but you could also say it that way. So rotate clockwise around B until C coincides or lines up with C prime. And then you have to be able to say those things that we just did. So here we go. Step 1, we translate B to B prime. Step 2, rotate clockwise around B until C coincides with C prime. And that probably isn't the only way to do it. It's just the way that I did it. Number 2, select all transformations that must take any point A to any point B. Now, first of all, to do this, making a visual diagram for yourself would be helpful. So I'm just going to draw an A and a B. It says if I rotate 180 around A, a new piece of tracing paper here. Here's A. If I hold on A, rotate around A, is that going to take that red point over to B? No. If I rotate on A, that point A is going to stay there. That doesn't work. Okay, here's A. What if I rotate around B? I mean, it does move A, but it doesn't take A to B. Whoops, it's out of camera. See, A's over there. So if I rotate around B, it does move the point, but it doesn't bring it to B. That doesn't work. Rotation of 180 around the midpoint of segment AB. So if I connect these, and I just eyeball the midpoint, and if I rotate, I'm going to put a little star on A. If I rotate 180, does A land on B? Yes, it does. Reflection across the line AB. Okay, let's start over. Here's A. Here's the line AB. If I reflect across this line, I'm going to flip the paper over. Point A stays on that line. Point A does not move to point B. Reflection across the perpendicular bisector of segment AB. Okay, the perpendicular bisector, we could construct it, but we don't need to. We could just make a sketch of it. That's the segment that goes through the midpoint and hits it at a 90 degree, right? And those two pieces are the same. So if I reflect it across that, let's see. Yep, A to B. Translation by the directed line segment AB. So I'm going to translate along directed line segment AB. Boom. A has been moved to B. That one works. Translation by the directed line segment BA. So this time they want me to move it this much, going this way. And we're talking about A, so that means I'm going to move A over here. That's the new point, not over there on B where we want it. How did I know which way to move it? Because of the order of the letters, BA. That meant to go that way. All right, number 3. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Describe a sequence of rigid motions that take A to A prime, B to B prime, and C to C prime. Just like number 1, you've got to figure out a way. Easiest way is to line up one of the letters. I'm going to do A to A prime. You could do any one you wanted. So I'm going to do a translation along directed line segment A prime. And then it looks like I can reflect it across line AC. Oh no, that's not right. Hang on. A to A prime. Because that's C. Oh, we're going to do redo. That's not a rotation, or sorry, a reflection, because that would bring B to C. It's going to be a rotation, right? So now I'm going to rotate it clockwise until C coincides with C prime. Boom. Okay, so one more time, we do a translation from A to A prime. And then I thought it was a reflection, but then upon further investigation, that didn't work. So now I'm going to try a rotation around A clockwise until C coincides with C prime. Clink. All right, so number 1, translation by directed line segment A prime. That was that one right there. I said that a little bit different this time than I did on number 1, showing you some different ways you can say it. Number 2, after you got that done, rotation clockwise around A until C coincides with C prime. That's telling you when to stop. All right. That was number 3. Number 4, we're skipping. Number 5, select all angles of rotations that produce symmetry for this flower. You might be able to see it without tracing it. I'm just going to draw the flower. I'm going to use the idea right there's 90. And I'm going to color this one in so I know where I started. So that's 45, right? Half of the turn of the paper. That isn't lining up. But there's 90. That's lining up. And then I got to turn it all the way to there. That's 180. 270. And then all the way back to 360. So we've got 90, 180. Is H270 not a choice? $90, 180, 270. Huh, 270 is not a choice. All right, moving on. 5, we're skipping 6, 7, and 8 just because we're trying to get to the most important problems right now. We're doing this review problem number 9. It says, here is a triangle POG. Match the description of the rotation with the image of POG under that rotation. All right, so notice this original is 2 down on every picture. So I'm going to go like this so I know where to line it up. And I'm going to trace this one. So here we go. If I line that up, I can tell that that's a rotation around O. It's going clockwise, right? And it goes, look at this angle, from here lands there. Each of these triangles is 60 degrees, so that's 60, 120. So clockwise, 120 around O. There's not that option. Look, the only one around O, I know it's not 60, and I know it's not 300, so maybe it's this one if I go the other way. So if I go this way, that's 120. How much is it if I go this way? So that would be 60, 120, 180, 240. So that's a different way to get there. It's this one right here. All right, next one, line up P. Centered on O again. And I see that I could go 60 counterclockwise around O. That doesn't work though. They're challenging us this time. So if it takes me 60 to go this way, right? Look, 60 to go that way. How much is it if I go the other way? Well, one full revolution is 360. So 360 minus 60, that'd be 300 the other way. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those triangles. So that's 300 clockwise around O. I forgot to write the letter on this one. Sorry. All right, next one. Line that up around O. I've got 60 clockwise. Does that work? Boom. 60 clockwise around O. B. And let's make sure this last one, it says 60 clockwise around P. Yep, this time P lines up on top of P prime. 60 clockwise. Bump around P. All right, guys, I hope that helped, and I'll see you soon.